Welcome to Reformed Thinking. We're the show that takes a deep dive into ideas that really shape how we think about life, purpose, and our connection to God.
That's right.
Today, we're zeroing in on a really core command from Jesus. It's one that maybe at first glance seems pretty simple, but as we'll see, it's got layers.
Out of the layers.
We're digging into Matthew chapter 5, specifically verses 11 through 16. It's all about what it means to let your life shine and how that actually points people to God.
And for you listening, our goal here is pretty clear. We want you to get a solid handle on Jesus' call to be, salt and light.
Salt and light.
And we'll unpack some surprising things about what that light actually is, especially when things are tough. And maybe see why living this way is actually the most loving thing you can do.
It sounds like it connects everyday life, even the hard stuff, to something much bigger.
Exactly. How ordinary moments, especially challenges, can showcase God's glory in a really powerful way. It's quite an invitation, really.
Okay, let's jump in then. The starting point is Matthew 5, verse 16. It's a command, right?
A direct command.
Jesus says, "Let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven." It's not really a suggestion.
No, not at all. It's a directive. And notice that word let.
Let? Yeah, what about that?
Well, it kind of implies the light is already there, doesn't it? It's not create light or generate light. It's let it shine, permit it, uncover it.
Ah, okay. So the light exists before the shining happens publicly.
Precisely. And the purpose is incredibly specific. It's not about us getting noticed.
Right. It says, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father.
Exactly. The whole point is that people end up making much of God, not us. They see the good deeds, sure, but they look through it, as it were, to the source.
Literally redirecting the attention.
Completely. It aligns with everything we know about God's own desire, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. They want to be praised, glorified through our salvation, through our lives. It's all about his worth being seen. That's central to Reformed thinking, wouldn't you say? God's glory is the ultimate goal.
Absolutely. The
Yeah.
chief end of man and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're told to let this light shine and it's already there, what is the light? Is just being nice, doing good deeds.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And Jesus gives us the answer just a couple of verses earlier, verse 14. He says, "Plain as day, you are the light of the world."
He doesn't say you have light or you carry light.
No, he says you are the light. It's an identity statement. It means the light isn't something external we pick up. It's intrinsic to who we become as his followers.
Okay, that's a big shift. So the light comes from the inside out.
Exactly. From the inside out, the good works people see are the outward expression, the visible part. But the source, the actual light shining, that's the light of God, his glory revealed in Jesus. We're reflecting him.
Reflecting him. And you mentioned earlier this connects to the Beatitudes, right? Matthew 5.3:10, just before this. How do those qualities, being poor in spirit, meek, mourning, how do they form this light? They seem kind of passive, maybe, or inward looking.
That's a great point, because they do seem countercultural. But think about it. Poor in spirit, recognizing your utter dependence on God. In a world screaming self-sufficiency, that kind of humility, that reliance on grace, it stands out, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely goes against the grain.
It's like salt adding flavor where everything else is bland. It makes people notice something different, something sourced outside the self. Or mourning, not just sadness, but grieving over sin, over brokenness, yet finding hope in God.
Instead of just despair or distraction.
Right. That hope-filled grief is a light in dark places. People see that peace, that comfort, even in sorrow, and they wonder, what's the source of that? It points beyond the immediate circumstance.
So these aren't just virtues, they're like indicators, signs pointing to a different reality.
Exactly. They are internal realities that produce an external witness. Being poor in spirit, mourning, being meek, hungering for righteousness, being merciful, pure in heart, peacemakers, even suffering for righteousness' sake.
Which we'll get to.
Yes, which we definitely need to talk more about. All these together paint a picture of a life plugged into a different power source, reflecting a different kind of glory. It's unusual, it's noticeable, like light and darkness.
Okay, so the good works are the visible evidence. The light is this inner reality shaped by the Beatitudes, reflecting God. And the purpose is crystal clear, so that they may give glory to your Father, not to us.
Couldn't be clearer. The glory goes to God because the light originates with him. The identity is given by him. The works are empowered by him. It belongs to him.
And that sets Christian good works apart then from just general philanthropy or trying to be a good person.
Absolutely. The motivation and the ultimate aim are different. It's not about earning points or feeling good about ourselves or even just making the world a bit nicer in human terms. The entire orientation is Godward. We're mirrors, redirecting the praise to him.
Okay, now this context thing you mentioned earlier, Jesus says all this about salt and light right after talking about persecution, verses 11 and 12.
Yes, immediately before. It's crucial.
He says, "Blessed are you when others revile you and persecute you. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven." Linking blessing, rejoicing, reward, persecution. And then he says, "You are the salt, you are the light." Why that order?
I think the order tells us something profound. It suggests that what is most salty, most distinctively flavorful, and what is most brightly visible in a world that's often paceless and dark is the joy of Christians when they are suffering.
Wow. Not just regular joy, but joy in the midst of hardship.
Exactly. Think about the world's typical reaction to being insulted, lied about, persecuted. It's anger, despair, bitterness, self-pity. But when people see followers of Jesus responding with, well, with joy and gladness, because their hope is fixed on a heavenly reward, that's baffling.
That's completely counterintuitive.
It really is. It stops people in their tracks. It's not just goodness in easy times. It's this supernatural response when life gets incredibly hard. That's maybe the brightest light of all.
So why? Why does suffering make the light shine brighter? What is it about adversity that has this unveiling effect on God's glory in us?
Well, think about it. Just being, say, merciful or kind when things are going well, that's good. People might notice, but it might not make them think about God specifically.
Right. They might just think, oh, that's a nice person.
Exactly. But when there's a significant obstacle, persecution, illness, loss, deep disappointment, something that you'd expect to crush someone's spirit or make them lash out, and it doesn't. When instead people see continued joy or steadfast peace or unwavering hope, that makes them pause. That makes them wonder, what is keeping this person going? What are they hoping in? Especially when all the usual supports are gone.
Because the earthly reasons for happiness have been removed.
Precisely. And Jesus gives the reason right there. For your reward is great in heaven. It means Jesus himself and the future he guarantees has become more valuable, more real, more precious to us than anything the world offers or can take away.
So when trouble strips away worldly comforts,
We still have Jesus. And because we have him, we still have joy. Maybe not happiness in the circumstances, but deep, abiding joy in him. And that response, so different from the norm, awakens people. It helps them see God's reality, his sufficiency, his glory shining through our weakness. It's the saltiness and the light and sharp relief.
that's powerful. It shifts the focus from just doing good to being sustained by God through hardship. But does that mean the good works are enough on their own? If people see this joy, this perseverance, will they automatically understand the gospel and glorify God? Or is something else needed?
That's a really important clarification. And no, the works alone, even works done with supernatural joy and suffering, aren't typically enough for someone to come to a full saving understanding.
Okay.
While these actions definitely glow with God's light, they prepare the ground, they make people curious, they authenticate the message. Jesus himself shows us that verbal testimony is essential. We need to actually tell people about him.
So the works create the question, and the words provide the answer.
That's a great way to put it. Think about it. Seeing someone endure hardship with grace might make you admire them, but it doesn't explain the cross or resurrection or sin or redemption. It doesn't explicitly name Jesus as the source of their hope and the object of their faith.
Right? It could be misinterpreted.
It could. That's why when Jesus sent out his disciples, like in Matthew 10, he told them to both preach the kingdom and heal the sick, cleanse lepers, raise the dead, do good works.
It was both hand.
Always both hand. A life of salt and light love demonstrates the reality of the message. But the message itself, the good news about Jesus, needs to be spoken. We live it out and we speak it out. That's how people truly come to see and give glory to the Father.
Okay, that makes sense. And this brings us to a common objection. You hear this sometimes, people say, well, if you're doing good things in order to get people to praise your God, isn't that kind of using them? Isn't there an ulterior motive there?
Yes, that's a frequent pushback.
How do we respond to that? Because Jesus does say the purpose is that they glorify God.
He does. And the charge of an ulterior motive really comes down to a failure, I think, to grasp what the glory of God actually is. If you don't see God's glory, his beauty, his goodness, his worth as the ultimate good, the highest possible joy, the greatest gift anyone could ever receive,
then yeah, aiming for it might seem self-serving, like you're just trying to win points for your team or something.
Exactly. But if you have experienced, even in part, that seeing and savoring God is the peak of human existence, the very thing we were made for, the source of eternal, overflowing happiness.
Than wanting others to experience that isn't using them.
It's the absolute opposite. It's the most loving goal imaginable. You're aiming for their highest possible good, their ultimate satisfaction, their eternal joy. It's not ulterior, it's ultimate. We're inviting them to the feast, not using them as decoration.
So reframing it, the motive isn't hidden, it's the whole point,
Yeah.
and the point is their ultimate blessing.
Precisely. It's the very essence of love. Think about it. What does love want for the beloved? It wants their greatest, most lasting happiness and well-being.
Okay.
And if we believe, as Christians do, that the greatest, highest, most joyful good is knowing and enjoying God forever through Jesus.
Then leading people towards that is the most loving thing we can do.
Absolutely. To lay down your life to serve someone, to do good for them specifically so that they might come to share in that infinite joy of knowing God forever. How could that be anything but love?
It flips the objection on its head.
It does. Any aim less than that, any goal that stops short of wanting them to find their eternal satisfaction in God, would actually be a failure of love. It would be settling for offering them something temporary or secondary when the ultimate gift is available, like giving someone a painkiller when the cure is available.
That's a helpful analogy. So aiming for God's glory is aiming for their ultimate good. And the supreme example of this has to be Jesus himself.
Without question, his whole life was oriented around this.
How did his life demonstrate this constant aim of glorifying the Father?
Well, from start to finish, his mission was to reveal God's splendor. John tells us his first miracle, turning water into wine, was done to manifest his glory.
Right, at the wedding in Cana.
Every teaching, every healing, every confrontation with darkness was designed to show people who the Father is, what his kingdom is like, even how he taught us to pray. Hallowed be your name. Glorify your name. It was his driving passion. He let his light shine perfectly.
And this culminates, you're saying, in his death, which seems like the opposite of glory, at least from a human perspective. How was the cross the ultimate good work for God's glory?
It seems like the opposite, but it was the absolute pinnacle. Remember his prayer right before the cross in John 12. Now is my soul troubled. And what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour, but for this purpose I have come to this hour. Father, glorify your name.
He chose glorifying God over saving himself.
Yes. His death was the greatest good work ever done. Why? Not just because of the immense cost to him laying down his life, as John 15 says, the greatest expression of love, but because of what that sacrifice achieved.
Really?
It obtained freely for undeserving sinners the greatest gift possible. Access to God, the ability to see his glory. Remember Jesus' high priestly prayer in John 17? He prays, Father, I desire that they also, whom you have given me, may be with me where I am to see my glory. That seeing, that sharing in his splendor is the ultimate gift his death purchased.
So his death wasn't just paying for sin, it was opening the door to God's presence and glory.
Exactly. It removed the barrier. Now, again, this only resonates deeply if you've come to see God's glory as the supreme treasure. If you value other things more, the cross might seem foolish or just tragic.
But God's glory is the ultimate good.
Then Jesus paying the ultimate price to bring us into that glory is the most profound act of love imaginable. He bought our eternal satisfaction in God with his own blood.
Wow, okay. And that standard, that call to glorify God, it extends even to our own deaths. That's challenging.
It is challenging, but also deeply meaningful. Jesus told Peter specifically, predicting his martyrdom, that by his death he would glorify God.
He just assumed Peter's death would serve that purpose.
He did. It implies that for followers of Jesus, even the way we die can be a testimony. It can make God look good, show his worth, display his faithfulness.
How so, practically?
By facing death not with terror or despair, but with peace, with hope fixed on that great reward, with confidence in God's promises. It shows those watching that our hope isn't ultimately in this life, but in him. Remember what Jesus said about sparrows.
That not one falls without the Father knowing.
Right, Matthew 10. If God sovereignly oversees the death of a sparrow, he certainly oversees ours. And he can use that moment, our ultimate moment of dependence, to shine his light through us one last time on earth. Our trust in him then can speak volumes.
It gives incredible purpose even to the end of life. And it all points forward, doesn't it, to his return?
Absolutely. The final ultimate display is yet to come, Jesus' second coming.
How will that be a display of light and glory?
He himself said he will return with his angels in the glory of his Father. And another place says he'll come with power and great glory. It won't be subtle like his first coming. It will be the undeniable, universe-filling revelation of his majesty.
And he comes to judge, but also to bring his kingdom fully.
Yes, to remove all sin and lawlessness and to usher in the new heavens and new earth where righteousness dwells, filled with his glory.
So what does that mean for us, for believers in that future kingdom? What's our role in it? Does the command to let our light shine still apply?
Amazingly, yes. It becomes our eternal vocation. It's what we'll be doing forever.
Our eternal job is shining.
In a sense, think about it. We were made to be satisfied in God's glory. In eternity, that satisfaction will be complete, perfect, overflowing, and out of that infinite satisfaction in him, we will naturally, joyfully reflect his worth, his beauty, his love.
How does that look?
Well, Jesus gives us a picture in Matthew 13.43. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. It's not about individual ego, it's a collective radiance, like countless mirrors reflecting the one source of light, Jesus himself.
So our shining contributes to the overall glory.
Yes, and deepens our mutual joy in him. We'll be seeing his glory, savoring him, and reflecting him in acts of love towards each other and in worship towards him, forever causing more praise to arise. It's a glorious, unending cycle of joy and reflection.
That's an incredible vision. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground, from the initial command to our eternal destiny. Can you maybe pull it all together? Summarize this bright command, as you call it.
Sure. I think you can see it as a three-part call from Jesus, really for everyone.
Okay.
First, find your ultimate satisfaction, the splendor you were made for, in Jesus himself. See him as the supreme treasure.
Start with seeing him rightly.
Exactly. Second, turn away from trusting in anything else the world offers for security or happiness and bank your hope entirely on the great reward, which is everlasting joy in his presence.
Shift your hope.
Right. And third, fueled by that hope, that joy, that satisfaction in him, let that light shine out. Let it be visible in sacrificial acts of love and service towards others.
And the goal?
The explicit goal is that they would see these works, be drawn towards the source, and ultimately come to see and savor and join in spreading the praise of God themselves. It's finding joy, hoping in the reward, and shining for his glory, and they're good.
Find splendor, bank hope, shine in love. That's a great summary. So for you listening, the challenge is to think about what living this out looks like. What does it mean for you to find and express that kind of radical joy, especially when things are hard?
Yeah, and maybe ask yourself this. How could you start viewing every situation, every challenge, every interaction, every opportunity to show kindness, even your thoughts about the future and the end of your life? How could you view all of it as a chance, an opportunity to help someone else catch a glimpse of God's infinite worth in Jesus?
That really reframes everything. We'd encourage you maybe reread Matthew 5, those key verses 11 to 16. Ask God how your life can become more distinctly salty, more visibly bright, by trusting more deeply in that great reward he offers in Jesus.
It really is a rich passage for reflection and, more importantly, for living out.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive on Reformed thinking.